Hey everyone, welcome back to Radio Resto. So today we're going to tackle the vacuum pump that was leaking on my car. So after at MOT, just before my MOT, I was inspecting the car and I noticed that there was a little bit of oil leaking from between this fella and the engine block itself. It was sort of dripping onto the trays and so on, slight residue. So I just inspected it closer and then it turns out that this is a vacuum pump, and the vacuum pump itself was sort of leaking the gaskets that sits between the block and the vacuum pump, which is this one here. So was starting to leak and was getting a little bit old. So you can buy this kit from eBay. It's got all the gaskets that you'll need to do this job and refurbish this part. You can buy a brand new one, but I mean for less than 10 quid, why not, right? Let's give it a go. Essentially, yeah, you just need to buy one of these, and then you've got the vacuum pump off the car. So to take it off the car itself, it's just these two bolts, which you'll see in the alternator video where I had to remove this to get the alternator out. These two bolts, and that should come out. It's fairly accessible on my engine, which is an AJ133. Yours may differ slightly on your car, but essentially you should be able to get this out relatively easy. Pull it out and we're good to go. So let's get stuck into it. Okay everyone, so you all know I am in my kitchen again, so please, as I've mentioned before in one of my other videos, do so at your own risk. Get permission before you do anything inside the house. So to take this gasket off, it should be fairly straightforward. You could just use a screwdriver, or if you've got sort of a pick tool or anything like that, you can sort of take it out. So let's try and see if I can coax this out of here. Cool. Once you've worked that off, that should be out. So we'll just get some, keep some clean rags with you. Make sure they are clean just for this. Now obviously this one is oily, but it's oily with the oil from this particular unit itself that's on here. So we want to give it a good clean, and clean inside the grooves as well. Make sure it's nice and clean inside. Where the gasket's going to go, just give it a clean. You can use some brake and part cleaner if you want to, but mine's in fairly good condition, to be honest, so I'm just going to use the cloth, the blue rag, to clean that out. There doesn't seem to be any sort of dirt or debris in there otherwise. Okay, and then let's have a look. So I don't think, seems to be the same on both sides, so it doesn't seem to have any sort of directional way of putting it back in again. So if we follow the pattern of the shape, so it's got a shape to it. Sorry, I'll just take it back off to show you. So the gasket has a sort of shape on it, and it'll follow the shape of the actual housing itself. So just make sure that you put it in, and then just make sure you push it down all the way so it's in there and seated properly, like so. Okay, that's all good there. I'm just going to take some clean towel and I'm going to wipe the top end here. Okay, and then there should be another one, sort of an O-ring on top here. This one seems like it might be a little bit trickier to get off. Excuse my hands being in your way. Just trying to work it up. Okay, go. Little fella's out. So again, let's give that a good clean inside the grooves. Nice and clean. And then we get the new one and slip that fella on. Nice and easy. Okay, that's one of it done. So now what we need to do is we're going to have to take off one of the parts. So let me just topple out some of the oil that's come out of here. Topple that out. So then you've got a sort of, looks like a torque screw on there. So just get the right size. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Right, and then we shall pull this out. So it should come out. I just want to be very gentle with it. I don't want to break it. Okay, so you can kind of wedge a screwdriver in and then lift it up slightly. Oops. Okay, so it comes out with a little bit of a pop, so yeah, again, be careful. Make sure that you don't splash it if you're doing it inside. And then give that a clean. So this one's got a little bit of scale in there, but from what looks to be coolant actually, weirdly enough. I think when I've done the intercooler and the supercharger bearings before, I think coolant sort of dripped down into certain places and just dried in the looks of things. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at this. Okay. Got a bit of oil, so we're gonna put it into a little tub. So I'm just turning the little bearing on here, and that sort of has encouraged the oil to come out of the vacuum pump from there, so that may help us when we do the other side now. Okay, I'm just going to move that out of the way. To there. And we shall put that back down. Okay. Cool. So again, we're just going to give it a good clean on the inside. Just make sure we take out any oil or residue or any dirt that's inside of that. So again, you can use brake and part cleaner if you needed to clean it out. But the Blue Roll's doing a pretty good job for me, so I'm going to stick with that. Okay, and then let's grab our next washer. So we've got a little green one now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that one off again from here. So sorry for the angles. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, that one's off. Give it a quick clean. Okay, and then let's get the new one on. Just like that, and then you can roll it down, and that should be in place. Just like that. Okay, so that's all good. Let's put this back in here. So again, push it down into place. There. Sorry, it looks like a washer on top there that's sort of worked its way out. So push that back down, screw back in, and then we tighten it back up again. So this screw should only take about 6 foot-pounds, which is pretty much hand tight. To be honest, you don't need to put any excessive force. Just once it's tight, that's enough. Just like that. Okay, so that's one side down and the vacuum hose connector end done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip it over, and then we're going to do the inside one, which is this big one, just like that. Okay, so this one might get a little bit messy, but hopefully the oil that you've just seen come out of it should be enough. So let's get that. So there's only 3 screws holding this top plate in place. So let's just undo that. Three. And then let's see if we can pry this plate back up. Okay. Right. Should be that. So let's just get out some of the excess oil. Just make sure you keep a finger on that. The sort of part just came back or fell out of that there, so just keep a thumb on it or something, or finger, and that should keep everything in place. So that's looking good. So move that away. I'm just going to take some clean blue roll, and then let's see if we can clean this up a little bit. So again, just cleaning all the grooves, making sure that it's nice and clean for the new gasket to go back on. Quite cool. So if you're looking inside of the vacuum piston, it seems to be sort of, it has these sort of arm that sort of scrapes against the side and builds up pressure, and then obviously pushes oil around and it moves either side as you turn it, which is quite cool. Never seen the inside of this myself, so learn something new every day. I'm just going to check to make sure I've put it the right way. It doesn't look like it has a particular direction, so it should be hopefully okay. Okay, sweet. So the old gasket doesn't look to even be one, to be honest, unless it's fused to the case. Ah, it's actually fused to the case. Sorry, I thought that was some sort of lip, but that's actually the old gasket. It was actually stuck to the casing itself. So that's the old one right there. Compare that to the new one, which is a lot thicker. The old one is very thin and definitely worn out. Cool, so let's put that over one side. Let's give this a good clean. So you could potentially take a razor blade or something and clean the surface of that, but mine looks pretty good, so I'm not going to interfere with that too much. It seems to be fairly clean. As I'm rubbing it with the blue roll, it's sort of cleaned itself and it's polishing up quite nicely, so I'm going to leave it as is and not sort of interfere with the surface, because the vacuum pump was working. There was no issue with it. It was just sort of leaking from what I could see, so early stage before failure. So just this is some preemptive maintenance on my part. So I'm going to leave that as is. And then with the gasket again, there doesn't seem to be a particular side for this. It's just push it in and we'll make sure it fits. So now that's a lot more snug on there. Obviously the old one was stuck to the casing, but this one seems to be fitting in there quite snugly. Okay, so it looked a bit like it was too big for the gasket. Looked a bit bigger than the fitting, but it looks to have gone in okay. So I'm just gonna push it down, make sure that it's fitting in there properly. It seems to be okay. Yeah, so it might appear to you when you're doing yours as well, it might appear like it's too big, but actually it does actually fit in there. So when you push it in and just get it down, it will sort of push into the gap. Cool, so then let's get this back on again. So again, it will fit one way, the holes will line up, you can't really get it wrong because it only sort of fits one way anyway. And then let's get the bolts back in. So again, these are just 6 foot-pounds. So again, hand tight. They don't need to be excessively tightened. But what I do is I just put it in and then we'll evenly move it around. So I've tightened that one a little bit too much. I'm going to go back a little bit and then push that in. So what we'll do is bring them all to about the same level and then we'll just tighten going around. That way we'll just make sure it pushes down in that gasket evenly. Okay. Okay, that's pretty good. So I'm just gonna double check it with the mini ratchet here. Okay, I'm happy with that. All right, so that's it, pretty much it. So as you can see, it's not difficult at all. A few minutes job. Just once you know what to do and you've got all the right gaskets, that's it. Just need a little bit of towels or cloth, sorry, just to kind of clean it up. And then again, like I said, you can use brake and part cleaner. But that's it, and then you put it back on the car, 2 bolts in, job done. Hope that helps you guys. Thanks for watching. Please remember to, if this has helped you guys or you found this video interesting, please like and subscribe to support the channel so I can keep making these videos for you guys. Okay, so that's the vacuum pump back in the car. So I did have to adjust the internal gear slightly to make it align with the block. But again, it's just 2 bolts, this one and that one. It's 12 Newton meters, so it says in the torque spec. So that's, again, that's just about hand tight. You don't want to over tighten it at all. Use a torque wrench if you can get one to fit in here. It should clear. If you have a shortish one, you should be able to measure that up. And then obviously don't forget to put that vacuum line back in again, otherwise you're going to have problems and oil everywhere. But yeah, it's fairly straightforward, as you can see. So again, as I mentioned in the alternator video for this car, if you'd love to see more videos on this L322 and show you how much I love it, why I love it, and let you hear the beast, you know, yeah, like and subscribe, help me get to the subscribers and support the channel, and I will show you my baby.